No. You want to just do,
Okay, for Thursday, February 6th, 2025. And all stand to the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, liberty and justice for all.
So, roll call,
Carl Granzo, President.
Sarah Cook present.
Randy Thomas, President.
David Smith, President.
Okay, we're all here. Okay, so changes to agenda. Do you have any changes to agenda? Anybody have anything they want to bring up?
Where's all our minutes? From September, October, November,
And they're not ready yet.
again. Okay.
We'll get there, maybe next,
Next year,
not next year. next year.
No.
We'll make Sharon put that on her to-do list. How about that?
Oh, was that in your fault? Oh, see, I think that's where I was putting.
I have one too.
Oh, do you?
Oh, not that. No, I thought it was. Okay. Anybody else have anything? Other than the minute? I'm reading it.
Mm.
You're saying from September to last month?
well, we didn't have a meeting in December. We had one January 2nd, January 15th, October, September, October, November. I believe we didn't have one in December.
We had 2 meetings in January.
Uh-huh.
So like that was from September, January, without December. Yeah.
I have no notes.
Okay, anything else? Randy, do you have something?
No, I don't have that. I didn't put that in my,
What?
the,
Agenda?
That one?
Sharon, didn't we get, Randy didn't get out of the agenda for tonight, because we have an extra one.
Yeah.
Since you haven't sat down with us from that, right?
I could have just.
I want you to say anything. Sharon, get yourself some too.
Mhm.
I think I have 6 million questions.
Not giving me any reason.
Madam Chair? I would ask that while you're waiting on the agenda, and I believe we're at changes to the agenda, that you might consider placing your vote on vice chair until you find out if your application goes through the commission and then at the council.
Okay,
Nope,
No? So,
we should have had a vice chair a year ago. Back,
because we
back in the charter.
again, correct?
Well, I thought the mayor was, what we had voted on last month was for the mayor to decide
No, they just said that they were gonna have the mayor come in, maybe
Yeah.
possibility.
and do the.
If I could address that, sorry to interrupt, but the mayor would like for, to find out if this person is approved by the commission, approved by the council, so that maybe you would have more than 4 people and it could break your own tie.
So she has basically asked us to figure it out on ourselves and then pass it to them afterwards, right?
If you would consider waiting on the vote until, confirmation, and then yes, figure it out yourself.
I don't think we should really wait any longer. I mean, we've been putting this off since I've been on planning since April,
And me since December,
and a year, according to Mr. Smith.
been over a year without a vice
I
chair.
think we should do maybe one more vote. And then if we can't come up with a decision, then we go from there.
Before we vote, I'd like to make a motion.
Okay, Frank.
Everybody at that point?
You can make a motion.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion whereas the newly elected planning commission chair will choose a vice chair from the list of willing commissioner members to serve for the upcoming year.
Oh, you're.
Hmm?
You're leaving it up to me, huh?
Well, you're the one that's got to deal with everybody.
Okay.
So I would just think that it's logical that the president elects a vice president. It's not a vote on it. I mean, that would completely eliminate the confusion that we're having.
Do we have a second for Carl's motion? I don't mind being a tiebreaker. Or even the deciding factor, I guess.
Was there a second on the motion?
No,
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 not
No.
yet. Excuse me. Phew,
bless you.
goodness sakes. Table on that then.
Well, I still agree that we should have a 5th member to our planning commission to do a vote. Or if Carl can make a better approach to the idea of letting our chair vote be the deciding factor.
With all due respect, you're supposed to have a second before we enter discussion.
Oh,
Yeah.
We have it.
yeah, we were,
Table.
did not have, there was no second.
Yeah, so does that mean then we're going to
Vote.
table Carl's idea and do an old fashioned vote then?
It means your motion is dead.
Motion's dead. Okay. So do we need to make a new motion then to revote?
Whatever you would like to have a discussion on, if there is some other idea other than what the mayor's idea was, then somebody needs to make a motion second before we enter discussion. It's just opening up for discussion.
Two would like to make a motion.
Okay.
That we allow the chair to pick the vice chair.
We just had that
We just
motion
have to vote Carl.
with Carl.
Will you bring it back? Have a second for that,
I can second that.
okay, Carl second. Okay, so is there any discussion on that?
We have been without a vice chair and been doing without our charter for over a year. This is why the citizens don't even want to come to City Hall anymore. This just shows that push the buck back another month. Then you have to wait for the next month for her to get approved. There's 2 months. And then it'll be another 3 months. So we're looking at almost a year and a half. We're not even following our charter. That's really sad.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to say?
Not much more.
Okay, let's make a vote.
Yes.
All in favor?
Yes,
David?
Nope.
Could, excuse me, could you please say who is voting? Could you say Commissioner, Thomas, aye or nay? It's going to be really hard for the minutes when we go back and listen and nobody's raising their hand. We can't see who's voting for what.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I, Commissioner Thomas, say yes.
Carl Renzo, yes.
David Smith, no.
Sarah Coates, yes, I guess. So with that being said, 3-1, so I guess I have to decide, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So who in here wants the position? Let's put it this way. We know Carl doesn't want it. Carl doesn't want anything to do with it. We know David wants it. Randy, do you want to be in there, or do you?
I would like to go ahead and give a fair chance to David.
Okay, then, I make my vote to elect David Smith as vice chair to the planning commission.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Don't let us down.
No.
Okay, so that is finally get decided. I guess we are, the interview.
Did we take care of our changes to the agenda?
The only one. Discussed about trying to get all the previous minutes at the next meeting, so we can finally vote on them, see about from September. I don't think Carl already had anything to add as a new agenda item. Okay, so let's go to, we did the votes, so yes, number 1, interview the applicant for the planning commission. Does everybody, yes, receive the applications? Have we all had time to look it over? Okay, I gave us all a list of questions. We would like to be the first one to ask Ms. Higgins a question. Come on up here, Ms. Higgins. It's nice and close so we can see you and hear you. All right. And Randy is going to go first.
Tell us about yourself and why you're interested in serving on the planning commission.
Well, I served 10 years on the council and so it's time to do some planning commission work. There's some things that I would like to address that I think are a problem that I discovered in the past decade of working. And also, it's fun to serve the city. I do like it. And I haven't been on the council before. I'm on the commission before. Okay.
How do you see the role of the planning commission?
Well, for starters, you're planning the city. I mean, you're laying out what happens and how things are laid out and how our city functions as far as planning. But it's hard to describe. You know, we're building a city and it needs to be built in a very organized and laid out, well laid out, functional situation. And that involves a lot of thought, a lot of planning, a lot of hard work, and a lot of research. Not an easy job. I know that. And it's a beautiful city. I'd like it to develop properly.
Okay, thank you.
Who would like to ask the next question? Carl? No? David, would you like to ask her a question?
You elaborated to Randy the problems in Lakeside, what problems are there that you see?
Well, first of all, a couple of them that really bother me. One is subdivision issues. Our subdivisions in the past, but in the city here, have not been done correctly, done completely. There have been things that have been left out when they put together subdivisions, and then it was left in the hands of the city. And they tried that with the, Mass Brothers tried that. I tried to do the subdivision up here. And I want to make sure that we have everything laid out so that they have to follow one of the protocol for subdivision. A single lane road into a subdivision is not acceptable. No sidewalks and no streetlights is not acceptable, not for subdivision. And I want to make sure that that doesn't happen again. I mean, we've had some problems in some others that occurred already in this town. And it's falling on the shoulders of the city. And we can financially cannot afford as the city have to go back and do things that should have been done right in the first.
David, do you have another question?
You said problems, it's just one. Do you have any more?
Pertaining as.
We're just, you said problems, I just wanted.
I know, and I like this one. I would like to see, in the past, a lot of this problems we had between neighbors had to do with the fact that the lots, the properties out here are so small. I'd like to see some bigger lots when we do anything further. Not, I mean, everything's done already, grandfathered in. But people don't move to Lakeside to live in each other's armpits. I mean, to be just stacked on each other. We really want to foster a community that has good spaces. Pedestrian trails, we need pedestrian trails. We need, there's a lot of things. We need to develop our parks. We need more of an area for children to play. We need a lot of things. I'd love to see a skateboard park, things like that. I'd also like to see our business district stay business and be well defined. I know I'm referring to a lot of things that have happened in the past 10 years or so, where we've had problems with certain things that have occurred.
I just have one more question, Mrs. Chair.
Ask away, this is how we do it.
You mentioned you were on city council for 10 years. The last 7 years that I've been here, can you commit the time to do this volunteer position, meaning the research, show up on time, and be prepared when you come to the meeting?
Yes, I don't work a job right now. I have.
That is it, Madam Chair.
Shoes on our screen, questions? Okay, I have a little bit of one. Charlene, you know me. So you say you're talking a lot about green spaces for the city of Lakeside. As a planning commissioner, how would you go about developing specific codes to allow for those green spaces to be developed? Knowing that Lakeside doesn't have a lot of buildable land as it is right now.
You'll see, that's the first thing is we need to have our, urban growth boundary probably expanded because I believe it only goes towards the dunes, if I'm not mistaken. Correct?
I think spin wheel cut off, that kind of, it's kind of a funny little Texas shape almost.
Yeah, where I'd like to see it, be able to develop more in our forest areas and for obviously not in the lake itself.
Just because I know that these are topics you've been passionate about for quite a while, so I'm just curious if you had ideas of how to make that successful. Okay,
Yeah.
And then I guess I'll just ask the basic question. Can you display good ethical behavior by avoiding the pursuit of any special privilege?
Yeah.
I figured I'd ask one off the list, Okay. Does anybody else have any more questions for Charlene? Or are we ready to?
I have one.
Yeah.
If a developer comes in and presents a plan that you think is crappy or is not compatible for the location, but is technically meets the code, what do you do?
See, that's the problem. That's where we've had a problem in the past.
So what would you do?
Well, I have to obey whatever the rules are, but that's why I want to see those changed. So it outlines what is a proper subdivision. Because we have had that problem before.
Keep mentioning subdivisions. Where do you see subdivisions coming in Lakeside?
Math Brothers tried to put one up on Hilltop. They're probably gonna continue to try a couple times now.
Well, they've tried to do that over there on, whatever, where they
The clear
just
cut up
logged.
here, that mess
Yeah.
there, yeah, they're gonna. try
They
to do
did that
there.
too.
And Randy, did you have something?
Well, what I do like, and bear in mind, as a group, you shouldn't have to be told that it's all on you. So when we do these discussions and then we have these votes, we all can make our opinions along with you. You know, that you don't like this, well, I might agree with you there and two other people, but, so I mean, that's something to be good at, is for the well-being of the citizens of Lakeside.
And, you know, and I'm not prepared right now because it kind of caught me off guard, but, I would come with a presentation of information for you and to present what I've discovered and, you know, and then whether the rest of the group feels that way or not, of course, has to be.
I have another question for you, Shalene. So I'm familiar with you on council. There's a couple of occasions where you came in fairly close to being late, and sometimes you wouldn't have your proper paperwork for those council meetings. As a commissioner, it's very important that you come prepared, and if not on time, early sometimes to get extra information when you need it. Would you be able to do that as a planning commissioner and do your due diligence and homework for the agenda items for that evening?
And I do admit I was, struggling towards the end of my.
Just making sure. There's a lot involved here, almost more than council sometimes.
Oh, I know, I have to agree. I sat in on a few meetings.
And I know you don't work, so you would have the time to look into it, so yeah. Good. Maybe I'll see you add anything.
I'm good.
We asked Ms. Shalene to step out so we can make a vote and then bring her back in. Like the way they always did it to me in the. past.
Okay.
I don't know, that sounds like,
They would always kick me out and make me come back later.
all right.
Turn off Zoom too.
Yeah, I think you have to,
Pause Zoom.
No, you didn't call for an executive session. Everything that you do is in public.
wasn't sure how you guys still did it. Okay, so,
Would we go to an executive session to discuss?
No, because it has to be on the agenda.
Yeah.
You can't, it has to be agenda item. So you have to stick to what you asked
Yeah.
in the criteria. No,
no weird things. Got it. Do we need to make have a discussion?
My only discussion is I think she'd be great for short-term tasks and groups. But I feel if the city is trying to go into a new direction with more tourism and more everything positive in a positive way with the new businesses, there's Sire, here comes another one I'm hearing around the corner. I don't want to live in the past and I want to move forward. And I think she's great for short-term tasks, budget committee and stuff like that. I just don't see. I see another commissioner that would know absolutely nothing, which is fine because we can educate them.
We've all been there with absolutely no knowledge. of it.
No knowledge of that. I just don't feel she's a right fit at this time for us as we are moving along, trying to get our boundaries and our everything in order. I don't think that would help with the issue.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm trying to digest what David just said. I believe she'd be a positive effect on the commission. Like I said earlier, everybody's got to learn, start from learn. She might not have the idea where what our rules and guidelines are that we have to jump through the hoops to do. But she's going to, she's going to run into that. But I think she would fit okay.
Randy, do you have anything there?
I think having an extra planning commissioner is plus Because there would be a true balance instead of ties and things. And based on the history of the people that are busting the doors to come and become a commissioner, I think we should take this back that Willing, he is from Lakeside area. He has been involved with the Lakeside area. He knows the pulse beat, and I think she would, because of the fact that she hears from us, that she would want to learn and participate in a way that's going to make it all more viable.
The one thing I would like to add is when I was on city council, I did serve with Colleen. And she was very knowledgeable, but there was, like I asked her, there were several occasions where she would come in 5 minutes late, or she would come in without packets or information and can be prepared. And I don't know if that was due to council burnouts, and she's had that time. Just, you have to be kind of prepared to be on planning commissions. That'd be the only thing I would worry about, is if she would be able to come here and be prepared. Which it sounds like, since she ran for, what was it, mayor, and now she's looking for planning, it sounds like she may be ready to get back into the city government game, but I would worry about her unprepared.
Is there,
No, you're good.
I was just also looking at the fact that is there a awareness, or that with conditions, I don't know if we've ever had that word, conditions, but I guess that's with any of us, by participating and not being here at times, as it says, if you're not involved with it often, you can be asked to leave. There is a section
But we'd all call
that, yeah, and I think with us all knowing that and her knowing it, I think that would help be the constraint part. But I know we always should have a back door with everything. But again, we need to have someone in here to go forward.
No, and I agree. We do need planning commissioners. We've been looking for over a year for planning commissioners, and it's been a struggle. And Charlene does have the knowledge from being on city council, where she at least would basically have some knowledge of how things need to go and be operated.
I know Carl's been on it.
I have Charlene had,
Yeah. So, I mean, I know there's some good,
and David's fire board, so there's a little bit of
Water
experience.
board and
So I don't doubt that she doesn't have the experience. So, anything else to discuss, or we ready to take a vote?
yeah, I'm ready to take a. I vote no.
Yes.
yes,
Sarah Coates, yes?
Was there a motion?
I kind of made one. Would you like me to state it more formally? Okay, I guess,
I think the motion.
Krista, do you want a better motion?
I didn't hear if there was one. I'm taking
Okay.
notes, so I just want to make sure that I did not hear a motion.
I suggested the vote. I don't know if that counts.
No, a better motion would be appropriate, I think, to name the person that you're suggesting to bring onto the commission.
Am I able to make the motion, or does that have to be another commissioner?
You're able.
Okay, so I make a motion for us to go vote. Can I have a second?
Okay.
We have 2 seconds from both Carl and Randy to vote. Do we have to vote to vote?
Make a motion to vote.
Well, you made a motion and you got a second, so you
Yeah.
can just go
Okay.
ahead. So you,
Can we, I guess we vote then?
You
For
vote
Krista?
now. You vote now. Yeah.
yeah,
David Smith, no.
Randy Thomas, yes.
Carl Granville, yes.
Sarah Coates, yes?
motion carries 3-1.
That's a 3-1 vote, Krista, for Charlene Higgins to join the planning commission.
Thank you, commissioners.
Would we like to ask Charlene to come back in?
I have a question. Does she need to be approved by the council?
Mhm.
Yeah,
So they take our suggestion for the new commissioner, it goes to city council says yes or no, and depending on what they decide, she will return. But she can come back in and finish sitting in on the meeting if she would like, I think.
Yeah.
Yep. If she has interest in planning, she should at least be here and witness planning, correct?
If we just find her, once she gets
We
approved.
will get her a jumbo binder. We all can have big binders.
Oh, my other briefcase is in my truck. I had it here earlier. I'm going to go through it. I'm gonna,
One of the little parts.
yeah, I'm gonna go, put all my stuff that's in here in storage that I have, and then I'll bring whatever down.
Do we need to inform Ms. Charlene of our vote?
You want-
Okay, Ms. Charlene Higgins, in a vote of 3-1 in favor. We are going to send off a recommendation for you to join planning commission, the city council to be voted upon. On their decision, we will welcome you onto the planning. Thank you.
Congratulations.
You can stay for the rest of the meeting, or you may go if you'd like.
If you want to stay. It's kind of interesting, having a good agenda.
Sharing things.
Yes, they do.
It might affect you in the future if council does say yes, you know, it might have something to do with it. So, okay, so our next item is a discussion to establish the timeline for the time, place, and manner for the newly revised camping ordinance. Do we need to make a motion to open the discussion, or can we just discussion?
Would you like me to say a little bit about this and why it's on the agenda?
Love you too, because I have absolutely no information on it.
So the council has needed to address time, place, and manner for some time. They would like to task you with the particulars of the time, place, and manner. There's model ordinances. We can go back on packets. They've been put in many times. But they would like to task you with the recommendation to bring to them on what does time, place, and manner look like in Lakeside, which is the call it a camping ordinance, unsheltered ordinance. It essentially gives people that are mobile at night a place to rest where they cannot be criminally held liable for their place of rest. Whether that be, on a street, we don't have to provide a piece of property. We just have to provide, it is okay for you to park in your vehicle or for you to have a tent or whatever that is for them. Maybe during the hours of 8 PM and 8 AM, 7 AM. And at such time, it's time for them to move on about their day.
Okay, I'd like to open discussion on that.
Well, we have a camping ordinance.
We've had them for a very long time.
Yeah, we have a camping ordinance for the general commercial area. So it'd have to be for either unsheltered or the homeless, mobile homeless personnel that we have around here, like the campers we have in the street right now. Where do we put them? We're gonna make someone mad.
Mm.
Where do we put? So we need to figure out, we should come back and figure out where we would like to put the vehicles at night from 8 PM to 8 AM. Because we're gonna make someone mad in the community and we're
Right.
gonna hear about it if you put them down Park Avenue, my street, you're gonna hear a bunch of people, anywhere you put that,
Yeah.
you're gonna hear the complaint.
I think that's just gonna be the problem that we're gonna have to deal with anyways, will be the backlash, because it doesn't matter where we designate.
You also got the problem of, going with the, state says, about, you shouldn't, create a rule unless you can enforce it. Who's going to enforce it?
Yes,
How is it going to be enforced? You're going to tell somebody to be out there at 8 o'clock in the morning. Who's going to go through the foot traffic and get them out of there?
at 8 in the morning.
Or 6 o'clock in the morning, whatever.
And I think that would be something that would have to be up to the council to decide anyways. I think we're just being asked to decide where we would like it, what hours of operation for that. Right, Krista?
That is correct. And I think that maybe a work session would be appropriate so that it would give you guys some time to look into it, maybe read some model codes or what other cities have done, and what the state requires us to do. And as we go through some of these other things, if you feel a work session is appropriate, then we could move those things to the work session.
This is not going to be a quick decision. Randy, do you have anything you want? You're the only one that's being quiet right now.
Oh, because I was just thinking, and you guys had some great ideas and I was just thinking, but I do know before we can have this enforcement, we have to have something that is to enforce.
Mhm.
So I think the enforcement can be put off if we can get our time, place and manner.
Yeah.
And then pursue the idea of the enforcement.
Because it's
Well-
not up to us to enforce it. That's a council
That's
and
right.
city staff
Correct.
thing. We're just figuring out logistics of it.
So our, as the commission then is they wanting us to be time, place and manner.
Yeah.
Submitted to the council. Council then will then be tasked with looking at that as we've done. And then discuss the ordinance of enforcement. Is that correct?
Correct. That's how I'm interpreting it.
That is correct.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to
No, thank you.
throw in there? David, do you have anything else you'd like to say? on that?
I like the work session because we can see where we could do some research. I've went to the Coos County with Adam and Randy
Mhm.
at the homeless authority. We got a lot of good information. So yeah, I would like to research this and schedule a work session and see if we can't get citizens in here to participate with, hey, where would you, we have to put them somewhere.
I
Where would you like?
do agree that we should get some kind of community involvement on this. This is like a really big decision.
Yeah.
And if we don't involve the community in some way, it's gonna be really bad for everybody. Yeah, I think a public work session is something that we're definitely gonna need, and it might end up being more than one possibly, I think.
I could see that. I mean, this is,
This is a big thing.
yeah.
Okay, so,
I have a question.
yeah,
I know that about this issue going on. I know we've had some slight rubs with the people there, our audience during the council,
mhm,
and it was already very boisterous and
mhm,
loud and very anti. As far as solutions, the solutions from that is like, defined, was very contentious, was to have nothing to do with them, have nothing to provide for them. And there was no help. It was just a negative onslaught. So there's, again, to have a meeting, we need to educate what we're planning on doing
Right.
and what they must do. And
Right.
okay.
I think if, when we do this, we could come prepared to present it to any community that shows up, to ensure smooth involvement from them and to let them know what the plan is and clear, easy to understand. People in our community don't want to hear us talk mumbo jumbo. They want clear, concise discussion. No, people they're all gonna be angry anyways, but it needs to be done, I think.
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
Might I suggest that the commission have time to deliberate and get a really good, solid plan and then
Yeah.
take in some public commenting. And you can always make alterations to your solid plan so that it doesn't turn into a non-productive, outpouring of the same thing that we saw that Commissioner Thomas was talking about. We come together and just make a really solid plan and then start educating people if that's necessary, depending on your public comment. but some of that might also be, we can put some of that on council to, educate as well, might get with the mayor. That might be a town hall thing.
That's
I know
what
she,
I was thinking like a town hall, maybe have council sit in or be part of as well. And I do think we need to have something put together to present and not just have a free for all of information. We need to do a lot of homework, I think, before we present this to any public, but we do need the public's input on it. It's very important.
absolutely.
I do like the idea of having the council and Madam Mayor here as well, and they can answer any questions that they might have. Because they're gonna bring up the enforcement of, and so that's a thing for the council. Maybe the council can answer what their steps are gonna be once we figure this out. I think it'd be a good idea to work with them on this.
Absolutely. And like you said, doing a lot of homework. So is there a work session date that you guys would like to set maybe after Way comes again for her? I think it's the 15th. Is that right?
Mm. It's 19th.
19th.
So we want to set it up after she comes and does her training.
What time's your training?
I don't know. Yeah, it's still, it's still,
4?
yeah, the same, like we had last time, but I'm gonna double check with her to make sure that she remembers.
I was gonna remember this time. It's already in her calendar.
It was very helpful.
Mhm.
I think we probably need to start working on coming up with something sooner rather than later for this. And I'm sure the council would agree on that as well. I don't think it's gonna be put off any longer.
The only reason I was suggesting after that is we're gonna be upgrading IT services at City Hall, and the week after the council meeting, we will be down to help convert some of that over. After I believe it will be after Way comes. So I understand it's a really important issue, but I
Yeah.
don't want to get to a point where we can't print things off if needed and have computer issues.
Okay, so you're thinking it'll be down towards the end of the month because it's short month this month, correct?
Towards the end of the month and yeah, I mean, council has their work session 2 weeks before the regular meeting, just so it doesn't conflict with the same day as council.
So our first meeting in March, so our 2 weeks would be corresponding probably with down IT time, yes?
From 26.
1 second, let me look at the calendar.
Well, it's not leap year this year, is it?
28.
Yeah, so there's only 28 days, 2 weeks prior, we're talking like soon.
From our normal meeting,
Yeah.
that's the 20th.
That would be the 20th.
Which would be the day after our training day.
Yeah,
The 27th would be their work session day, so sometime, and I believe, the upgrade will be the week of the 17th, so, that's why I was suggesting after Way is, here, the week of the 24th, 25th, 26th, something like that, and then council would have their work session the 27th. And I think it would be good after you guys have your work session, then we can roll that into the work session for the council.
The 20th is, we're having a, public hearing.
yeah, we have a meeting. That's,
It's President's Day, so City Hall will be closed, correct?
Yeah,
yeah, we have a public meeting on the 20th here for us
Yeah, and I have,
at 6.
I have an obligation, I believe, on the 21st.
We have a meeting here on the 20th. At 6 p.m.
Of February.
mhm.
Yeah, 20th of February. at 6
Public
p.m.
hearing.
Public hearing.
So we're kind of limited on a schedule for that. It'd have to be. Would have to be 24th, 25th, or 26th, correct?
If you guys wanted to do it prior to the public hearing, you could do that, to start the conversation. Or 24th through the 24th, 25th, or 26th, or before council's workshop.
I don't think that we should start getting this out until we do that hearing and then get that kind of over with and then start a new thing.
Would you like to
Uh,
have a work session maybe before the next regular planning commission meeting?
Well, I'm thinking we probably need to start this by the end of the month.
Mhm.
Commissioners agree, or do you think it's wait till March?
Sooner the better. I
I'm
mean,
here sooner.
I'm open because I'm open.
I'm open all the end of the
I'm
month.
typically open.
So can we schedule a work session for us between 24th and 26th, somewhere in there?
I'm open all the time.
I'm hearing that all commissioners are open for that schedule. And that way we can possibly get done before council and before IT and, yeah.
Or after
After
how-
after IT, the 25th or 26th would work out really well.
Okay,
25th,
so Tuesday or Wednesday, commissioners?
either day, Tuesday, you pick, Madam Chair.
Making a difference.
Okay, so let's go, Tuesday, the 25th. What time are we thinking?
Public hearing. Work session.
The work session?
We can do 5 or 4. I mean,
City Hall closes at what, 4?
yeah.
We want to make sure that Sharon has time to get things ready when she gets off work. For Sharon. Do we have a problem with like a 5 or a 5:30, 6 o'clock, somewhere in there?
No,
Anybody have an opinion on time of start?
No, it's, once we establish it. we can fit it in.
Okay, Krista and Sharon, do you guys have a preferred time, since you guys will be working that day?
5 or 5:30 works well. Thank you for asking.
Okay, so let's go, 5:30 on the 25th, I think. That will give these guys some time to get what they need to us. Do we agree to that?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes,
All right, Krista, 25th at 5:30 for a work session for the new camping ordinance, please.
Perfect. Thank you.
Just as a thing, some of the nearby cities have some really good
Yeah,
newly adopted camping or,
I think it'd be good to bring in some, maybe some research. Yes, Randy?
When I'm thinking and talking to people about ordinances, is this another word for saying the homeless?
You're not supposed to say that, you're supposed to say.
I know, that's what I'm saying for the unhoused, excuse me, correction. Is it not, it's, so it's nothing about other camping? It's basically
It's not
doing the unhoused.
correct, not
Mhm.
recreational camping, but unhoused.
So that's
camping.
the ordinance we're looking for is for the unhoused.
Correct.
the time, place, manner.
Okay. That's,
It's confusing language.
so I have a question. If we're gonna write a new ordinance, we have to have, public hearings on that, I believe. Am I right, Krista?
For an ordinance, you will have to have a public commenting period, a hearing. I don't think you have to have it in order to recommend it to the council.
Okay. We should check on. You want to make sure.
Get my calendar. somewhere.
That's what I was doing, yeah, there's way too many.
Yeah, okay. A lot of stuff, okay, I'm updated. Okay, so, can we move on to the, next item?
Conditional use permits.
Yeah, discuss the procedure for reviewing conditional use permits.
I would like,
Oh, sorry. I thought
Kristen?
you wanted my input why this was on the agenda, but go ahead.
No, you can give your input before we start. So we-
Part of the code enforcement and part of the cleanup operations, we were seeing that there wasn't anywhere that we could tell where there was, and again, this probably goes back to you guys, need rules and, maybe just, putting that in your work session too, kind of hammering out, even if it's basic, you can always change them, but putting some review language somewhere so that it will trigger, on odd years or even years for you to review those conditional use permits. We don't know if the ones that are existing are still relevant. We don't know, you know, it really, there isn't any process. So we would like for you to please come up with the process for reviewing those.
I think this was brought up at our last month's meeting by David Smith and I as well, is that we need to start reviewing and keeping track of these CUPs, so. I like it, okay? So let's have a discussion about it.
I like that idea. I mean, Rob, our old planning director, I'm not sure if you still have a binder. I know, I'm sure you probably did get one. Carl, you got one. I still have it. He gave us a way, he showed us how to do these permits and review them professionally, properly, and everything. And he even gave us one to do to start.
Okay.
And we should use that book that he gave us. That's from our old city planning director. And I kind of feel if you hit the hard ones first, the ones that are little will fall into place because they don't want to get the hassle that the big ones are
The
coming
the
out.
more obvious ones
Yep.
first. Okay,
If we're gonna do it, might as well put some teeth in.
I know that we discussed that, in the chair, was the fact that, um, Commissioner Smith was saying, this was basically comments, again, I'm probably just parroting what he's saying, is that we were looking for, again, the higher ups to make the little guys shudder, but we need to just make a point of 5 of them or something, just to get in. Do we have at the city hall records of past the conditional use permits on file somewhere?
Yes.
Yeah.
So is it possible then that some of us for helping myself or whatever to go in and look at those and go through them and itemize them and log them and put them into, like a triage?
I think it's sort of the oldest issue and work our way up to the newer issue, maybe.
Is that possible, Krista?
I don't think so. I know that that sounds unproductive, but coming up with a process and a policy that no matter who is in your chair or my chair can come in and say, it is the odd year, even year, we need to start reviewing these. And then once you go through, you can do it in a work session or what have you. You guys can come up with how do you triage these right now? Maybe you work through, 10 or whatever it is, and just keep working at it. So that as it gets whittled down, it will become systematic, but we really need a policy and also this elusive binder that you guys have for doing that. We do not have that. So again, if somebody is willing to share the binder information to process these, that would be super helpful. We are kind of starting from scratch. If you guys have something that we don't have, so we could all be on the same page.
Yeah, we've had lots of city managers on lots of. Okay, Randy? Do you have anything else there?
I do. I was thinking that from now until we're all satisfied that we've got them, is make on our agenda in the following months ahead, 10 of them, and keep hitting it and make that as item 3 every meeting to go through those so that we can hit them at that. Is that possible?
It's a great idea. I love that.
That way we can all get it as a group.
And maybe not like 10, but do like 1 or 2 each
5,
meeting,
yeah,
whatever.
whatever.
Yeah.
There's probably not that many. I mean,
There's, yeah, like Sharon says, there's probably not a whole lot where we need to do 10, but we could.
Well, that's right. I mean, I was thinking about because of the conditional permits from years past. Surely we had more than 10.
Yeah.
I mean, is there some 10 years ago that we have to address? Or are those basically pretty gone.
And I do think we probably need to start with some of the older ones that we haven't checked on for quite some years before we worry about any of the
Newer one.
brought ones from the last maybe couple of years. Just because we don't know how many are out there really. And then once we get this figured out, we can put them on a schedule. Say if you got your CPU on January 5th, January 2023, then January 2025, January 2027, do it like every 2 years or 1 year on their anniversary date of application, maybe.
So when we're going through these, conditional use permits, there's probably some that's not gonna take long at all.
Right.
It's just basically, like you say, going through them, reading them and see if we have to, I mean, would we have? How would we go out to the place to verify that they're doing it? Would there be on-site inspection?
Well, again, kind of coming up with the procedure, and if it lives in a binder, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. If somebody
Okay.
would bring that down, I can look through it. If that already exists, then we'll just start doing that. But if that's a procedure that we need to implement or a policy so that that becomes routine, then we can look at that as well. I think the problem is there isn't, from my perspective, any policy or procedure.
I do believe in the planning commission state handbook, it does say that the planning commission can go out and do site checks.
Yep.
Am I wrong, or is that in there?
As a group.
It'd have to be as a group. I don't think all 4 people would be required as a group, but 1 or 2 could go out there and check a checklist, make sure they're meeting all the requirements.
And handbook, I don't, is that something different that we didn't put out, Sharon?
No, she added copies to her binder.
For
The
the,
planning commission handbook is in there.
oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it's in there. Sharon did a very good comprehensive job of putting these binders together. It's in there.
Hey,
I do
Crystal.
believe in there, it says that the commission can, if they choose, do site visits or to double check that requirements are being met. I could be wrong.
Then you might just, figure out who is that gonna be one person every time? Is it gonna be different people? Who is gonna be doing the thing?
We could decide on that by month, I suppose.
Yeah.
When the agenda comes out, we could get to, I can send an email out and be like, who this month wants to go look at so and so's property for the meeting. I don't think we'd have any problem doing it that way.
No.
I think if you're gonna put it on the agenda, though, that well, if you're gonna do it before the meeting, then you put it on the agenda.
Yeah.
And then if it's on the agenda, people can go with you.
Yeah, I have no problem doing this as agenda items, and I know I wouldn't mind doing site visits. I know a quite detailed amount of the code, so.
Hey, Krista,
Yes,
next week I will bring in this binder from Rob because it's color coded on which ones, he color coded them green, yellow, red, which ones were most effective all the way dating back, I want to say to 2016.
that would
if
be
I'm not-
super
and I
helpful.
Because it's on a Excel spreadsheet, so it's, extra long paper that you have here that, I will bring that in next week to you.
That would be
Thank you.
super helpful, and that might be able to trigger me into finding that document, and then we can keep track of it if we can still find that and going forward, and whatever you guys decide on those permits so that we can keep tracking them. But I just wanted to remind everybody that the e-permitting process will, allow us to be able to online look at those permits. So this archaic method of keeping them on spreadsheets and things are not gonna be a thing. We will be able to go online and look at property files.
Krista, is it that same e-permitting system that like Coos Bay and North Bend use?
Correct.
Oh, you're gonna love it. It's so easy. I love that thing.
Right.
Sure, David Smith, you wanna make a motion?
Yes, I make a motion that we direct staff here at City Hall to this year start reviewing our conditional use permit since it's an odd year.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Carl seconds. Can we get a vote, all in favor?
Discussion.
Oh, discussion, sorry. We've already been discussing
Yeah.
it, really.
Okay, yeah, I don't have any discussion.
Anything, anybody else want to add anything before we vote to this discussion? Randy?
Nope.
Okay, Ken, all in favor?
David
Aye.
Smith.
Aye. Sarah Coates.
Randy Thomas, aye.
Carl Renzo, aye.
That's unanimous in favor, Krista. To start getting these on the agenda for us to review, please.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next agenda item, procedures for the meetings. Krista, do you have anything to add to this item?
It goes back to your, your rules, your council rules that we kind of just touched on in the, discussion before. If we could get just something down on paper to start with, that would be super helpful. How you want your agendas to look, how you, conduct the meetings, and, for transparency purposes. So, I think that's appropriate for a work session as well, but I think you guys have been given the models before, and also the
Yeah.
planner has asked a couple of times, for these procedures.
So we need to schedule a workshop to, I guess, solidify procedures of our meetings. Is that what you're asking?
I, I think it would be appropriate if you think there's time in the one that you've already scheduled to, we can pass it out again and for everybody just to look it over. We can, cut down on some of the things that, because it's a model for, council, but it will, I can put in there, some basic things and then you guys can add or take away what you want, but I think it's appropriate for the work session coming up.
I think that's something we could possibly add. We want to discuss, it all? Do we want to just add it onto the current work session we just scheduled, or do we want to make it a
Yes.
separate work
Yes.
session?
I'd like
No.
to add it to
Add
the,
it on.
add it to on the 25th.
Krista, I think we just want to add this to the already scheduled work session that we have at the end of the month.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, next agenda item, the comprehensive code. Krista, do you have anything you'd like to say about this one?
Yes, so the council is looking at updating the comprehensive code and they would like for you to start working on this as well. We kind of touched on the TGM program as a means of having them audit the code and if we didn't discuss it before, the TGM program, it's free, it's a grant. That you would submit the code, they would look through it, but it is a very involved process, so it takes roughly a year for them depending on their workload, but to get started. So there's a lot of processes, resolutions. They want the community to be involved. They want to put it up on the website. But they want you to start looking at updating the comprehensive code.
I think, this is one of our, planning commission goals, because it was brought up a couple times by a few of us commissioners, that this is something that we think is necessary. I don't think that we should start this though until after we get the, camping ordinance started.
I agree.
I think one big thing at a time. I think that this can fall on the wayside for a little bit longer until we get that one taken care of, because that's the one our community wants. Let's, I guess, have a discussion about this.
I believe, like you're thinking, I could table the comprehensive code because it's been tabled for so long. We have other pressing issues that the citizens here want us to take care of. And for comprehensive plan, we can knock that out, start it if we knock out the hard things that we need to do, this camping ordinance and a couple other things. And it will fall into place as we knock things out, especially with a full commission.
And I think it's mostly just updating what's already in there
Yes.
and applying it to modern Lakeside versus 11 years ago Lakeside.
What did it take last time, Randy?
What's that?
Oh, it took a couple of years, didn't it, the last time?
Oh, yeah, and I think we still were
Yeah.
needing some
Yeah, the last time it was updated was 2015. so.
You know, but, yeah, but not on, not comprehensive plan, but the ordinance.
Ordinance 2025.
Oh, the ordinance is,
That was over a year. you know.
Yes, that was.
yeah,
when,
I was on that committee for that.
We have a good base where I think we just need to bring it up to current Lakeside. I don't think we need to rewrite the whole code.
No.
And the whole comprehensive plan. I think we just need to update and tweak some things. And it's gonna take a while, I'm not saying that, but I do think it's something that we can wait just a little bit longer.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean,
Check.
I just wanted to bring it up there. It's a long,
Take a while.
long process.
I think, and I think we know it's gonna take a while, that's why I'm thinking it can wait just a. Cause it's gonna take all of our attention, basically, unless we wanna drag it out, which I don't think anybody wants to drag it out. So I'd rather be able to, give it everything we have at the time, so I think we should get some of these other things out there. Randy, do you have anything you wanna, you're being quiet?
Oh, no, I'm just heavily involved now that I can have a little more time.
I have a quick question. Isn't this what Wei was talking about that we're out of compliance with?
Yeah.
And
Meeting we have in way,
Because of the time. I mean, the,
Because of the time frame that's expired now.
yeah, but she did say, I think that they can do pieces at a time and then you get, like can get funding.
But we're not like 20 years out, we're like barely a year out of it being expired. So I mean, it's urgent, but I think there's other important things.
okay, so this is one of, just to reiterate, this is one of the council goals, and they asked me to bring that to you, and that's absolutely up to you guys how you handle that. If you did choose to go with the TGM program, which they are interested in and excited about, there is a lot of downtime in between. It's not a continuous movement. Sometimes there's some work and you might go some months. So you would have time in between initiating the process where you could do tackle other items in case you didn't know that. But like I said, it does take about a year before they get to the point of auditing the code. So you will have some downtime.
Okay, and the TGM program, is it 100% covered, or is it just like our total of it? I know it's a lot of money.
It's 100% covered, and when I went through it in my previous city, they don't specifically do urban growth boundaries, but they were willing to help us with our urban growth boundary creating, because Lakeside's is its city limits, and they were gonna help us create that zone. So that would be another incentive to enter into the program.
So do we need you to contact them to get the programs started?
Correct, and it would be a series, it would be some, like I said, some initial involvement, a resolution from the council to enter into the grant, and then once we send over the code, it's kind of a waiting game until they assess it, then they come back with recommendations and compliance, and it's absolutely free.
I think the city and the citizens of Lakeside will like great too. Okay, so do we need to make a motion to get that started? Because I'm assuming it might take us a little bit to get started, correct?
It's gonna take a little bit to get started,
Okay.
but just getting if the commission is on board with that, to get that motion into place so that we can say that there's some forward movement, and then I can get a approval from the council and then reach out to the program. I do have, they just sent another letter this week asking, hey, we're still here. If you're interested, they're sending it out to cities and recommending that if you're not in compliance, that you use their program. So if you would like to make a motion, that would be great.
I make a motion that we direct Krista, our city manager, to go for the TGM program with the 100% grant.
I second it.
Okay, so we have a motion by David Smith, seconded by Randy Thomas. We need any more discussion on this? Anybody want to add anything? Okay, can we do a vote? All in favor?
David Smith, aye.
Randy Thomas, I.
Earl Renzo, I.
Sarah Coates, aye. Can you get that started for us, please, Krista?
Thank you, Commission.
Thank you.
I don't see anything else. Does anybody need to add anything last minute before I adjourn the meeting?
Well, not to turn the meeting, I just wanted to bring up an item that I keep seeing advertisements all the time.
Yes.
Eventually, we're going to see people coming in here wanting to know about small homes.
Tiny houses. I
Tiny
love
houses.
tiny houses. I put one in down by your house not too long ago. I love that thing. I love tiny houses.
Well, they did have, there is a accessory dwelling unit in our code. It may
But,
have to be a little, tweaked a little.
I put one in close to Carl's and it's non-ADU. It's just a tiny home
Oh, okay.
on a single family general residential zone.
Well, we don't have a minimum size.
Okay?
May I address, Commissioner Granzo's, about the tiny homes? That one of the things that the TGM program does is they teach us and help us with the code to do tiny homes. I do believe that they don't just tell you what you have to do in your city. It's obviously how you want to create your city. But the beauty of it is how to build it differently so that we can, with the limited land that Lakeside has, it would be a really good alternative using tiny homes on some of these lots. They would recommend different lot sizes, different types of dwellings, tiny homes, cottages, putting maybe second and third homes on some of these properties, and the way that they explain it and have designs already laid out for us is really helpful. So I don't know if you guys are interested in the tiny home thing, but that is part of this program.
Yeah, I see
I
it.
just think that, yeah, I just think,
Yeah.
you know, the more you see it advertised, the people are going to start
Mhm.
coming up with it, and we better be prepared for it.
And it's a great way to maximize your lot, really, because you can put a tiny home for you and a tiny home for your mother-in-law, and you can still have your garden and everything else. It's a great way to use your land. I've installed ADUs and tiny homes and I love them. They're so cute. But if this program will help us work with that too, I think it's good. Yeah, it's a good program. I think that's a good decision to do. Okay, anybody else want to have anything real quick before we get to that? David, you always have something.
Thank you, Shawnee, for applying. Look forward to working with you. Thank you, Krista. Is anyone on Zoom?
I don't think there's no on Zoom
Nope.
planning. They don't.
Thank you, audience. Please show up more often.
We need to adjourn the meeting. Was it 7:12 p.m.?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.